Hey, welcome back, guys. I have another battle here against Qwilliams23, who is a very cool guy, and we battled a few times in the past. He prefers the lower tiers and is a very talented battler, so this should be a very interesting match. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. This battle is going to actually be RU, which is, I think I did just once, and this battle is actually a tier down from the last two matches I had with Qwilliams. So hopefully I won't make a fool of myself. Let's go ahead and, yeah, start the battle. So, yeah, I lead with Flygon, which is a choice Scarf Flygon, as he leads with Cofagrius, and, yeah, I obviously do not want to stay in and get maybe Will-O-Wisp or whatever this thing wants to do. This thing is a physical wall, and it's just not very good to attack with a physical attacker. So I just U-turn, as I said. I go into my Houndoom, and this is a choice Scarf Houndoom, which, kind of interesting Pokemon. I'm not using Mega Houndoom, obviously, because I think it is banned in RU. So, yeah, there's that. Now, I am going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, predicting the switch. I was actually kind of thinking maybe he'd go out into his, Tyrantrum, which I saw on Team Preview. Ends up being the Gastrodon. It could have been that, too, so, yeah. I miss anyway, so it's not a huge deal. Although it would have been nice to get residual damage on that. Anyway, so I go into my Amoonguss now, which is actually a pretty cool tank Pokemon. And it does a lot of cool things, including Regenerator, as well as having some great bulk, as well as having Spore, which is, you know, ridiculous sleep move. Unfortunately, it cannot put this thing to sleep because of Overcoat, the, I think it's the Dream World ability of Excavalier, and I'm going to have to switch because I can't really do anything. So I go into Steelix as he predicts that and goes for the Drill Run. I was kind of on the fence whether this thing would carry it, since Drill Run is, not on every Excavalier set. It's not a very powerful move, but it does give him extra coverage. I Mega Evolve into Mega Steelix, figuring that with my huge defense, I should be able to take another one pretty easily. Unfortunately, he crits me with that one, so, yeah, that kind of blows. I do end up getting Stealth Rocks up, however, which is crucial. Looking at his team, it's very bulky and, rely on switching a lot, so getting the residual damage on his switch-ins is going to be fantastic for me. I don't want to lose Steelix quite yet, so I end up just going to Electros as he goes for a knockoff. And as you can see, it did knock off my Assault Vest, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I'm going to go for that Flamethrower. It's a little too early to try to over-predict him, and, yeah, he just ends up going into this thing, which I end up doing decent damage against. And this thing is one of, like, the slowest things, one of the only things slower than Electros. Electros is pretty slow, but Cofagrigus is even slower. So I just Volt Switch, and I go out into my Houndoom, as he just goes for a Pain Split, which will do some decent damage as well as heal him. So that's not fantastic. I think I'm going to go Dark Pulse this time, and I do. He was hoping, I guess, for me to go back to that Will-O-Wisp thing, but no, I do indeed go for the Dark Pulse this time, and I'm able to take down this thing. So, yeah, now he goes back into Gastrodon, and I really don't want to stay in. Dark Pulse is neutral to this thing, but this thing is super bulky and will just kill me, so I see no reason to give up my choice Scarf Houndoom quite yet. Now, he ever predicts here, which is an excellent, you know, prediction for him. Thinking that I would go back into Amoonguss, and I do, as he goes down to his Udine thing, which is Delphox, which is a pretty scary Pokemon. I'm just going to go out into Houndoom as he decides to go for a Dazzling Gleam, and I stay in. I am a timid, max speed Scarf Houndoom, but he is going to be able to outspeed me and take me out. That tells me that this thing is definitely Scarfed, and more than that, definitely timid max speed. And being that its coverage, it has Dazzling Gleam, and its coverage is pretty excellent, it's actually going to be able to hit my team pretty damn hard. I don't think I even have a Pokemon that resists all of the thing's moves, because it probably has a Fire move and a Psychic move as well. So anyway, I go back to Electros as he, yeah, decides to predict that and goes into Grand Bull. I'm kind of okay with this. He's going to get the Intimidate, but that doesn't mean anything. I just go for the Flamethrower. I was trying to hit the, Excavalier, of course, again. As, yeah, it ends up doing pretty decent damage. I'm just going to Volt Switch now. I don't really know what this Grand Bull wants to do to me, but I want to keep, Electros around. And look, it's another thing that I can outspeed with Electros. He is, like, some of the only Pokemon that I can think of that Electros can outspeed, but, that's good for me. Either way, he's just going to go for the Play Rough, which, I did predict a Fairy move, so I went into my Amoonguss, which, of course, Poison does resist Fairy. And, yeah, he's going to Earthquake to try to get some damage on me, but, my excellent bulk is going to keep that from doing much, as I just go for a Giga Drain to finish off Grand Bull, which will also put me in, well, actually, I really was in, range to, get back to full HP with the Generator anyway, so that works for me. He goes back into this thing now, which isn't good. At the very least, I'm limiting his switch-ins with this thing with Stealth Rocks. Since it is weak to Stealth Rocks, it is going to be taking 25% on every switch-in, but I do have to sack something. I don't really know what he's going to lock himself into, and Steelix is kind of nearly dead anyway, so I decided to sack Steelix. But, yeah, unfortunately, I really didn't have a safe switch into that thing. If he went to Dazzling Gleam predicting Flygon, it would have been really, really bad. But now that I know it's locked into Flamethrower, I do feel safe going into Flygon, and I'm just going to go for the Earthquake. And, it's a pretty strong stab move, and this is actually an Adamant Scarf, Flygon, so as you can see, I end up doing more than I expected against this Gastrodon. I'm actually going to try to go for the 2-hit KO, kind of risking it here. It doesn't quite kill, so I guess that first one was, like, max damage, because it definitely did, I think, more than half. But, he is able to live that second one, so that kind of blows. I am going to switch out now. I don't want to risk this thing having Ice Beam. I don't think it does, looking at stats, but obviously, I don't want to take a Scald either. So I go into Electros because, reasons, as he decides to switch as well, going out into his Excavalier, and that is a very good double switch for me, because I have the Flamethrower and I'm faster, although I thought that he might decide to switch, and he actually makes a decent play, staying in, thinking that I would not go for the Flamethrower, and yeah, I just decide to go and hit him on top now. I do have the Intimidate, and I do resist Mega Horn, which is his best stab move, so, yeah, that's pretty good. He is going to switch out now. He doesn't want to take one of my moves, and he goes out into Gastrodon as I go for the Fake Out. I really shouldn't have went for the Fake Out, knowing that I'm probably faster than the Excavalier anyway. And, yeah, obviously I should have went for Close Combat, predicting a switch-in, since it's stronger, but whatevs. I go for the Close Combat now, hoping that I might be able to kill it. No, this thing is way too bulky. It gets the Recover off, and I am going to switch out. Hitmontop is a Pokemon that, looking at his team at the beginning, I knew wasn't going to do a whole lot for me. I mean, it really only counters one of his Pokemon, and it pretty much gets walled by pretty much everything else, so, yeah. I'm not but it does actually give me the ability to take hits from that Excavalier, which is kind of nice. Anyway, he is going to Scald this turn as I go right back into Amoonguss, which is kind of like the perfect counter to that, and, yeah, I'm just going to try to go for the Grass move, I think, figuring that at the very least, I'll get some extra damage if he does switch into this thing. Although it's not really going to do that much damage. Both of my attacking moves are Poison and Grass, which is, this thing is immune to and resisted to. You know, so this thing really can't do much to Excavalier at all. So I do have to switch, and he knows that, but I figure, okay, Hitmontop worked out last time. At the very least, I get the Intimidate, right? And, yeah, he just goes for another Mega Horn, and I took that well last time, and I took it well again this time. And, yeah, this time I am going to go for the Close Combat instead of the, Fake Out, and unfortunately this Gastrodon is a bit more healthy now, so it doesn't look like the, Close Combat will even 2-hit KO, so, that's unfortunate, but, knowing that he's probably going to almost certainly recover, I know that I can get a free switch here into my Electros, which is faster than Gastrodon. Another Pokemon than Electros is faster than, oh my gosh, Electros. Someone might actually think you're speedy. Regardless, I do have Giga Drain on this thing, so I'm kind of hoping that I surprise him with it, but he probably will predict my Giga Drain. It's a coverage move that is on most Electros, and he does indeed just switch out, and he goes back into Excavalier, which is actually fine, because Excavalier can't really stay in against Electros either. Electros is definitely doing work because of his great coverage, and yeah. Anyway, I go for the Volt Switch, and I do end up killing this thing. I went for the Volt Switch just because if he wanted to switch out, it would deal damage, and then I would be able to switch into a counter. And, yeah, as you can see, it finished it off anyway. But unfortunately, now I have to show my Pokemon first. I end up going into Hitmontop, and I do that kind of for two reasons. One, because Hitmontop is kind of like the, it's the thing that most expendable thing I have on my team right now, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I do have the Fake Out, and, that will confirm the fact that this thing can't switch back in again. So this is the last time it's going to be able to switch in and live the Stealth Rocks. It was important for me to get at least one damage, just in case it had odd HP, which it probably does. And, yeah, as you can see, I did do it. And, yeah, it's locked into Psychic. I know I can take at least one with Flygon, so I just go into that and U-turn, which will kill it. Now, I know he's probably just going to go into his late-game sweeper here, which is Tyrantrum. And this is pretty much his opportunity to set it up. I'm hoping this thing doesn't carry Lumberry, and I kind of know from a previous battle we had that ended in a disconnect that this thing is probably going to be his Dragon Dance one. So, yeah, I go for that, hoping that it's not a Lumberry set, and it is. And that sucks, because now this thing has a Dragon Dance. He goes for the Head Smash, and there's two reasons he did that. one, he didn't think he would be able to KO me with Outrage since I am very bulky, and two, if he locked himself into Outrage, I could have went into Flygon, which will outspeed because Flygon has more base speed than this Tyrantrum. Regardless, he ends up missing Head Smash, which is pretty awful for him, to be honest, and, yeah, that's what happens when you lose low accuracy moves sometimes. And he misses again with the Head Smash. He ends up waking up, I think, first turn of eligibility, and, ends up missing another Head Smash, and I'm able to kill him, so there you go. I feel kind of bad about that, although someone did run the damage calc, and, as it turns out, there's actually, my Amoonguss should have actually lived that Head Smash, which is actually kind of amazing to me because of how amazingly powerful Head Smash is, but, yeah, I still feel kind of bad that 2 Head Smash misses. But, fortunately for me, since this is his last Pokemon, Gastrodon, I am going to get the W here. Amoonguss is going to finish this off, and, yeah, that was a pretty darn excellent game. And, we have to definitely do another one sometime, because battles against this guy is always very good. What is your favorite fossil Pokemon, as in a Pokemon that was extinct, but with the miracles of science and Pokemon have been able to be resurrected? My opponent used Tyrantrum, which is a very cool new Gen 6 fossil Pokemon. As for me, I will always say Credilli, because Credilli has a fond, spot in my heart. Thanks to that Gen 4. I have to actually try to use it again in Gen 6 at some point, because it is one of my favorite Pokemon. Leave a comment about that, and see you guys again next time. Laters.